Hello! Welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the Star Wars movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And I'm Heather Antos from, well, my home.
It's a good place to be from.
Yeah.
Your home, that is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for joining us again. I said again because I just thanked you in the green room, but thanks for joining us, Heather. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. It's I've been doing this with you guys for a long time now.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long time.
I think throughout pretty much the whole Disney era, you've been you've been a recurring guest, and we're happy to have you here today for minute 96. Minute 96 starts with a split second of Rey's face, followed by the introduction, R2-D2 meeting C-3PO for the first time. That's nice. And then it ends with C-3PO interrupting to tell everybody R2-D2 says blank. Now, we didn't warn you about this. This was the other thing that I meant to tell you about before we started, but Heather, we are going to do, you have a whole day to think about it.
Okay.
So we're going to keep that. We're going to make that blank a guessing game, match game style.
Okay,
so think about R2-D2 says blank. And so tomorrow's episode, we're going to start with revealing what we think our answers might be. What he might be saying. Or what we hope he's saying. But in the meantime, we get the return of C-3PO in full character. His memories have been restored. He's back to good old 3PO. Good old goldenrod.
Well, that happens in this minute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts out, we get the just split second of Rey finishing reacting to whatever she was doing.
All right, so just a quick before we go on, we could just get a tiny little peek at Force Ghost Luke. Heather, you have any thoughts on Force Ghost Luke? Or R2, for that matter.
Yeah. Last Jedi was a great movie. Those are my thoughts on Force Ghost Luke.
All right. All agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, then moving on back to.
I didn't know we saw him in the. Well,
when you see Rey, you can see
like
Luke
just a teeny
kind of out of focus in the background. So I figure it's her only chance to talk about Force Ghost Luke. So
right.
I don't know. I wasn't here for minute 95, so I don't know what happened in that minute. I've just my only experience with this film was solely minute 96 so far.
You're like, why is he there? Didn't he die? What was going on?
It was exciting.
But yes, then C-3PO introduces himself. No, yes, R2-D2 and C-3PO meet. I forgot who. I wonder if there was somebody that was just like, oh, have you guys met? R2-D2, this is C-3PO, like, at a party. You guys have a lot in common. You both served in the Clone Wars, right?
It's good to see the comedy duo back together again.
I also love this idea that R2-D2 just periodically backs up C-3PO's memories. And I want to know, like, does he ever mess with him? Like, like we see here, it's we've met before, like, blah, 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 or I'm about to go on my first mission with Master Rey. And R2's like, no, man, already did that. This was the last time I backed you up. So I wonder if he, ever, like, gives him the wrong backup drive just for, like, a nice little April Fool's prank or something.
It's like gaslighting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
just like,
I love R2. He's a little butthead.
Sure.
Like, he's...
I love the idea that like they went out and did something and R2-D2 embarrassed himself, and so the next time he's like, hang on, let me give him the backup from Wednesday, so he doesn't even remember that this happened, because I was out of my gourd the other day. So that's R2-D2 drunk at a party. I would love to see that movie.
So do you think do they write out R2's dialogue?
Yes.
They do. You have some insider knowledge. They write out R2's dialogue as if it is being spoken.
Yes. They write out R2's, Chewie's, BB-8's. Like, that was honestly, when I worked on the Star Wars comics, that was one of the things specifically on the Poe Dameron comics, which this movie kindly retcons. But in the Poe Dameron comics, Charles Soule would write out, like, what BB-8 was actually saying. And then I had personally created the code for BB-8's language. And I worked out this whole, like, what all the beeps and boops and whistles and all the little stuff did, and Lucasfilm took that and dispersed it to the rest of, like, the print media. Yeah, that's one of my cool, like, little Star Wars claims to fame. But they actually do write out what they're saying, so the actors and voice actors know, how to inflect, what to portray, things like that. So
when C-3PO reacts by saying, "You want to put what in my head?"
Yes.
What did R2-D2 say? I want to stick a wire. Like, I want to stick a wire in your head. I want to stick a.
You'll have to find a script. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to.
I don't know. I mean, with the wire, does that, like? I mean, if we're anthropomorphizing R2, is he like, I want to stick my finger? Like, is that like? Is he saying like
Right.
finger in your ear or whatever? And C-3PO is like, what? I don't know.
Right.
Well, the fact that he says in my head is the weird part. Not like, oh, I want to stick it in your outlet or socket or something. So, but that's interesting to know, and that you are the one behind that all. That's pretty cool.
BB-8 specifically. That was my
Right. So when you hear BB-8 on screen, you don't even need to hear the translation. You just automatically what he said. You're like,
don't wait for the
you can just
translation.
kind of
I get the gist. I know what's up.
Got it. Cool.
I do like the idea that they're all like, this is some, idiom, some shared language thing that C-3PO and R2-D2, because they've been friends for so long. He's like, I'm going to put the plug in your head. Turn around. He's like, you want to put what in my head? Like it's something that they've, some euphemism that they have just kind of accepted over the years of doing the,
the bit.
Like that, whatever inner language the two of them have. And then because C-3PO has been totally backed up, normally he's only, like, it's only a couple of days or whatever that he's just like, all right, I'll get the refresh from the last few days, but this time it's like starting from zero. And so he's just like, what? Like, I don't know what they're, like that kind of, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a good example from a movie that I'm missing out on, where somebody's basically kind of like,
this, I don't know. This just makes me like, I want to see the Star Wars romantic comedy 50 First Dates with C-3PO. Now.
Totally.
It should be. Oh, it's like, because it's like 51st. It's like the 501st. Oh,
yeah, there you go.
I like it.
That was totally on purpose. That's what I was thinking for sure.
Yeah, no, we can. You're 2 steps ahead of us. That's for sure.
Now, do those guys do? I bet there's got to be a thing, right? So at like a convention, the 501st, the Stormtrooper cosplayers have to do they have to have like a speed dating program or something like that. Call it 501st Dates, and make it up with
that would
the
be
whole thing,
so
right?
good. They need to.
Yeah, they need to do that.
Are they all in their Stormtrooper costumes during that?
They have to be.
Probably, yeah. It takes a little bit of a.
You don't know anything about what they look like. You're just going.
But it's kind of like the Love Is Blind show on Netflix, right? It's that whole thing. It's you're going in annonously.
You guys, I think we just worked out a pitch for a panel at the next celebration.
I think we did, yeah.
Hey, smash cut comedy. Speaking of rom-coms, this kind of a modern trope, a modern storytelling, filmmaking technique, language. A thing that we didn't really get in. Well, certainly in the old Star Wars movies, but I feel like even in older comedies, older movies in general. This kind of saying you're not going to do something, smash cut to you in the middle of doing it, that kind of thing. I feel like that's very much a 21st century movie idiom, and here we have it in a Star Wars, which is again the evolving. Like these movies are evolving with time. The language is always going to reflect when they were made to a certain extent, and it made me think of other, like, what other modernisms, and I think maybe we've thought of this before, because every time we come across one of these, it's like, what other modern movie making things have we not seen in Star Wars yet that you would either love or hate to see in a Star Wars?
Ooh.
Like, what are some movie tropes that you're sick of that you would not want to see in a Star Wars? Like, it's an extreme example, but I would love, the having somebody get hit in the groin and then cutting to somebody's reaction, that should never be in a Star Wars. We kind of did we? I don't know. Was that
one I never want to see in a Star Wars is a musical episode. I never want that. Like I don't think. I think that would be one too far for me.
What if it's on a planet where they just sing all the time? That you can so it's within the diegesis. You're still kind of like, oh, there's a reason for it narratively. It's just like, oh, we're going to this planet where everybody sings all the time, so you have to sing when you get there. You can't just.
Have they done? I don't think they have in Star Wars. Where they've done, because the MCU is all over it right now, all the actor de-aging. They've just done I'm going to stick Carrie Fisher's face on Billy Lord or Peter Cushing. They've done face transplants, if you will. Right. They've not de-aged anyone yet.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably the next thing that's going to happen.
I'm guessing Mark Hamill will be the victim. The next.
Oh no, they have then technically, yeah, because they did Mark Hamill in Mando.
No, but that was a face transplant too, right? That was there.
Was it a different actor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was a body body
double. Okay. Yeah.
Well, what about in this? Was that a de-aging or was that we had a training scene earlier?
I feel like they just took Mark Hamill's face and put it on that.
Yeah.
Especially since they're wearing helmets and all you see is this little tiny frame of their face. Yeah. It's probably a lot easier to just slap a
green mask. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to go the other direction and say, where could we have put smash cuts in the original trilogy or the the prequels?
That would be interesting to someone take the original footage and do a modern edit of Star Wars. That would be really interesting. Because how they're edited is so iconic, those wipes and everything. So to remove the wipes or do cut to reactions, right?
Yeah. The first one I thought of is Luke removing the restraining bolt and then smash cut to him going, "Where'd he go?" With the binoculars, it cut out.
I guess you're too little to run away from us, and then that little droid's gonna be the death of me, whatever. I was thinking C-3PO and R2-D2 too when they're getting in the escape pod. And he's like, what? Where are you going? I'm not going in there. And then just cut to them in front of the crashed escape pod on Tatooine.
Yeah.
But then you lose that. You lose some, no matter what, you're going to lose some, cutting anything out of the original Star Wars is going to make me upset. But it's okay. What
about when Han and Luke are having their goodbye at the Massassi Temple on Yavin 4? And Han's attacking that battle station, ain't my idea of courage. And then they leave, and then you just smash cut to Han Solo going, "Woo!"
Woo!
And he shows up at the end of the battle.
I like that.
Then you cut out the entire battle. Exactly. You just cut out.
Cutting anything from Star Wars makes me. And you're like, what if we cut out your favorite part of your favorite movie? And we just don't see that. I'm like,
what if we cut out the entire climax?
Huh.
Yeah.
I think Tatooine is my favorite part of the original of Star Wars.
Oh, Tatooine. So all of it. That's just
that's a wide net. There.
Well, the droids arriving, the whole droids arriving. Well, you picked the whole last third of the movie. Why can't pick the first third of the movie?
Yeah. No, I mean just Tatooine in general. Anything.
No, I mean the first.
You counting the pod race. You're counting.
No. Just in A New Hope. Just the Tatooine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
So. Smash cuts.
Yeah.
I want someone to start putting these together on the YouTube.
Right. And then they'll get taken down immediately.
Do all droids in Star Wars... Heather, maybe you can answer this question. Do all droids in Star Wars have inner lives? Or is it only... They used to say that that C-3PO and R2 were weird because they never had their memories erased, and that's why they had such strong personalities. But now it seems like a lot of droids have strong personalities. Yeah. So... But do all droids have, do gonks have dreams?
Gonks
have dreams.
Gonks are actually omnipotent godlike entities in the Star Wars universe. I'm very passionate about gonk droids.
It's actually the one gonk droid, and then we see him all over the place because that's how powerful he is.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
It's
it's actually a hive mind to the one true gonk. Yeah, I mean, I think all droids have the potential minus, like, I don't know if, like, mouse droids really can have, you know, the overarching, you know, sentience or memories. I mean, who's to say? But I think, you know, we've seen all droids have the potential for that. It just depends on if they're having, you know, regular memory wipes. Or you don't have regular memory wipes and then you get a little crazy like C-3PO, L4, you know, like all of these droids. But yeah, no, it's true. It's, you know, because Star Wars likes to sell toys. So every single movie, every single show, right, we have to introduce one new droid at least with a sassy personality that we can all love. And they're all perfect. Every single one.
They're all wonderful. Now, but think of the toys you could sell if you start introducing droids' dreams, because then you can have all kinds of crazy stuff going on. True. It's like, you know, Yellow Submarine, but with droids.
Well, isn't that what the Droids show on Disney Plus is?
The original Droids show? Or
no, the new one that they were announcing that was supposed to be like R2 and C-3PO, and then, but I haven't
heard of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was teased ages ago, and then it's probably canned like everything else.
Could be. They did, I was going to say that, well, this scene in particular, I think Lego Star Wars Droid Tales did a good take on this same thing, because they starts at the end of Return of the Jedi, and he's like, yeah, sorry, I had my memory wiped, so I'm not very good at telling stories. And R2-D2 was like, I got your backup, and just sticks a USB drive right in the back of his head, and you hear a boot up, you know, like an Apple chime boot up sound, or Windows, I forgot which one it was, but and then all of a sudden he has everything, you know, access to all of his stories. And so he retells some of them. But this similar thing, and I was like, which do I prefer? Because I'm a huge fan of Droid Tales, but I do like this movie. But I when we first saw this scene, I was like, did we need this scene? Because, like, there's a lot of stuff that was cut for time. And going through this, stepping through it minute by minute as we have, I'm always on the lookout for, like, wait, could we have just cut this and added a little more of you know, characterization from one of the other things, like especially going through the, I don't have it handy, do I? No, see, I'm off my game. But the novelization, the Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker expanded edition by New York Times bestselling author Ray Carson has a lot of extra stuff that I'm like, oh well, that would have been nice to have in here, because it's like, we learn more about what they're doing rather than just like thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I would rather cut some of the new characters that were added just for the sake of giving a friend a cameo in the film, and keep iconic classic Star Wars moments like your R2 and C-3PO, you know, little buddy comedy bits like that, you know what I mean? Like that's one where I'm like, you know, do we really need Zori Bliss's character? Does she really affect the larger story? No, she not really.
No.
At all. And so I would, you know, rather get rid of Kerry Russell, no offense, but keep my R2 and C-3PO.
Agreed.
I hear you. So when C-3PO R2 sticks the thing in his head,
he's sticking what in his head?
Under no circumstances. So then C-3PO just kind of like is suddenly like, guess what? I'm going on an adventure with Rey and all that, like as if he is being he seems to be unaware that his memory has been restored. You know what I mean? Like, as far as 3PO is aware, he was doing something, and now he's telling R2, like, he just found out that he's about to go on a mission.
Does a computer know it's been updated?
That's what I don't know. I don't know if that would be, if it would be.
And does it merge? It doesn't, because if I'm answering my question as I ask it, it doesn't merge his new memories with his old memories. So now,
because it's just all memories. It's just all. Yeah.
Right, and it's just restoring him from that backup. So anything that happened since then,
he doesn't remember Babu Frick.
Yeah, he won't. Oh no, he would because he got there. Oh no, he wouldn't because it's from the backup. He's about to go on the missions. Yeah, so he would see Babu Frick. I would want to see that scene where Babu Frick is just like, comes back. He's like, hey, well, you remember I'm one of your oldest friends, and he's like, who the hell are you, little man? Because that's how C-3PO talks.
That reboot really changed him.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be interesting to see. He had no memory of Babu Frick. He doesn't remember any of the. He doesn't remember Kerry Russell. Doesn't remember any of that.
I feel like after his memory was restored, there should have been at least you have to restart this droid to have it start working, and then you'd hear all like the duh, his
right. Well, that's what happens in Droid Tales.
Right. Yeah. So
I want the C-3PO cut of this film where it's just give me the 2-hour film that starts just from this moment. I feel like it will eliminate some of Pete, your issues with thing. We'll have a lot more time for context. They can just sit C-3PO down and be like, this is what happened. Palpatine returned somehow. And now we got to stop him. And we can just go from that moment.
That would, if you just did this movie from the points of view of, because, it's Star Wars and you need to do some parallel action, but if you just cut between C-3PO and R2-D2 this whole movie, you would get some good stuff because you would get more. You would get more Rose Tico. You would get more. I mean, they were stuck.
You wouldn't get more Rose. You wouldn't get more Rose Tico.
You would, well, yeah, but you'd get more of what's his name? Not Penny's Boat Hobbit. He would, rather than just walking through and shouting things every once in a while, he might be a real character.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the director's cut.
Yeah. Or the whatever the opposite, the droid cut.
Well, supposedly there was like a 3-hour version or 2.5 or longer version of this, right?
There's like 15 minutes of footage that's like unseen or something like that.
I wonder if that will be
because it was because the original edit of this I think was the longest Star Wars movie, and then what made it to theatrical release ended up being like 10 minutes shorter than Last Jedi. So there's like 15 minutes of footage that just hasn't been released yet.
Weirdly, it's all Snap Wexley doing yo-yo tricks.
I don't know.
It's just like, they just decided to be like, he's like, hey, Leia, that part where he's just, Leia tells him to be positive. He's just like, check it out. And he's doing,
Or it's Finn finally telling Rey what it was he wanted to tell her this whole film.
No time.
That's what he was doing. He's like, what did you want to tell me? He's like, check it out.
Yo-yo. Check out what Snap can do.
Yeah. Ray, I always wanted to tell you, Snap can do awesome yo-yo tricks. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, Ray's probably good at yo-yos, right?
I mean, if you're good at the Force, are you really good at anything, or are you just good at the Force?
You're cheating.
So you're either bad at everything or you're great at everything.
These are the only options.
Yes. Look at it. Yeah. What are those lizards that Thrawn had that supposed to eliminate that dampen the Force around you?
Yeah. I forgot what those things are called. But this guy that sat on his shoulder, Yeah,
everyone would have to run with all those things wrapped around them so they couldn't, Force run.
Hey, Dio has the local forecast.
I was really surprised that Dio has the complete map to Exegol in his head.
He doesn't. They say that. He's like, he's got the surrounding, basically the weather forecast, the local forecast around Exegol. And they say, hey, well, is it in today's or tomorrow's minute? Where they say, like, it's in today's because there's like gravity wells, solar winds. It's like, we got everything we need to launch an attack on Exegol except where it is. They say they don't know. Yeah,
he knows the atmosphere, but not the location. So how that's possible is fascinating.
Why is that? Why is this in here? What relevance is this? Why do they have to say, oh, Dio has some of the information, just not all of the information?
So it's a really big deal and that it's really hard. So in the next shot, I think it's the next minute when we see Rey fly through it.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
And that gives you an in to be like, all right, well, this is how they all get through it because it's obviously not. It's meant to be difficult
Rey
to get
have
to.
Just given them that information when she sent them the coordinates and said, "Oh, by the way, bring an umbrella because it's really raw red clouds."
Yeah. What do you mean she doesn't know? She's going as she goes.
Oh.
So she's leaving them breadcrumbs as she goes, but she can't. She doesn't know what's coming up. She's using the Force to make her way through it. But Dio has all the local meteorological information.
Where is he getting that from?
When he went there with Ochi of Bestoon.
But that was that was a decade ago. What is it? The Old Farmer's Almanac, where they give him the weather for the next 10 years?
Exactly.
All right.
Well, the gravity wells and the solar winds, the general vicinity of them. He's not giving them up to date, minute by minute, but he's giving them, you got to avoid this area because there's,
None of that stuff has changed in the 10 years that Dio has been deactivated.
No, the Star Destroyer, the Death Star ruins didn't move. The solar winds are still in the same place.
Got it. Okay.
Everything's fine.
Getting back to C-3PO for 1 second, do we assume he has not had his memory erased since Revenge of the Sith?
Does
he remember everything? Did he remember everything from... Is his earliest memory being on the Tantive and waking up and being like, hello?
I'm sure this is answered somewhere in like a novel or something. But I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. I bet there's a YouTube video explaining, you know what? Yeah. It could be Star Wars Explained. They could be explaining how many times C-3PO's memory has been erased.
Yeah.
In canon. I bet.
I would have been fine with them not even restoring his memory and just having him start over again.
Well, we said that too. That's a missed opportunity because, as much as we would hope and wish and pray otherwise, Anthony Daniels is not going to be with us forever. Mm-hmm. So here you got this end of the saga. You're rebooting C-3PO. Hey, have him boot back up with, even the people that are like Ben Schwartz or whoever's working on it, just tag a new C-3PO in right there when he reboots.
Who's the Anthony Daniels of the 21st century? That's the question.
Right. Who are your favorite mimes?
Well, it's just the voice you're talking about casting, right? You wouldn't have Ben Schwartz actually in the costume. So
I'd like to see that, though.
I mean, I feel like whoever takes it over has to. It's like a ritual. It's a rite of passage,
Yeah.
So it would have to be someone.
Jonas, who's taking over Chewie, he's in that costume, so...
But he doesn't do the voice, though.
No. No?
Yes. As far as we know, I don't know. Maybe he's doing...
Yeah.
I would like to see... I would have liked to see... It would have been a good spot for a handoff, and I would have accepted it. It would have been easier... they can't really do that with a lot of other people, so it would have been a good spot to do a handoff.
Yeah.
Have him wake up with the voice of Matt Berry.
Oh man.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we'll. I mean, Ahsoka's such a rare recasting of a character because we've seen, how many other people who have voiced their characters in animation, doing the live action. But the Ahsoka show is I think been unique in that. And Kathy has said, like, post the Solo film, she thinks recasting was a mistake, and so I don't know if we'll, I don't know when Anthony Daniels isn't around anymore. Are they just going to AI his voice and everything like they're gonna with Darth Vader?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's probably way more likely than recasting.
Yeah,
I agree.
I guess so. And then introduce kind of like the way that R2-D2 was barely into some of these movies. They'll just do the same. They'll just sideline them. Every once in a while, you walk by them, C-3PO will say something that he's already said, or some amalgam of things that he's already said somewhere in the trilogy. Yeah. And then we'll move on, and we'll meet our new protocol droid friends.
I mean, he'll probably be CGI anyway.
Yeah.
Without too much longer anyway. So all these people will just be AI, CGI creations. So it doesn't really.
And so will we. So that's
promises. That's all I have for minute number 96.
Same. We get to now. Remember, Heather, you would think about what C-3PO is interrupting to tell everybody R2-D2 says blank. Think about that for tomorrow. You got a whole day here. Alex, you too.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
In the meantime, if you're looking for something to do, everybody out there, why not? Here's the thing. Why not go to StarWarsMinute.com/merch. See the thing behind Alex there, that tapestry with all the little pixelated versions of things. You can get that there. You can get. Do I have anything? I don't have any.
There he is.
Branded merch in front of me. I don't. I'm at a loss right now, but I don't have any Star Wars Minute stuff. But we got a lot of it there. You can get mugs and cups and shower curtains and skateboards and all kinds of nonsense. So go there, find some stuff, buy it, and then we'll meet you back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.